Hi there, I'm Kate Hewlett from Stargate Atlantis, and you are watching Geeking Out.
This week on Geeking Out, Peebri's Big Adventure #1, Hellcyon #1, Kill Shakespeare #1, Promises Promises, Cold Space #1, Fever Dream #1, Brightest Day #0, and Ben Dunn Shorts.
Hey there fans of Comic Land, it's Leila here from the Comic Connection for this week's comic book reviews. And first up, we've got one of the titles that you asked us to review for you out of previews. It's Kill Shakespeare #1, written by Conor McCreary and Anthony Del Col, and art by Andy Belanger. So in this one, Hamlet is exiled from Denmark and leaves for England, and on his way, his ship is attacked by pirates, and he is rescued by King Richard III, who begs a favor of Hamlet to save his land by stealing a quill from the reclusive wizard named Shakespeare. And his prize for this deed? His father's going to return from the dead. So I gotta say, I kind of loved it. There's elements of classic stories here with a twist. This will be a familiar formula to some of you Fables fans out there. But I thought that this was really well done. If you're looking for sort of classic tales with a twist, something to get, young kids interested in reading older material for, this was a pretty good thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be great for young kids yet, like there was nothing particularly adult about this one, but we'll see where they go with it. Definitely, I really enjoyed it. If you can, give it a try. Next up, we've got Cold Space, #1 of 4. This is written by the Samuel L. Jackson and Eric Calderon with art by Jeremy Rock. So in this one, there's an outlaw on the run named Mulberry, who barely escapes the authorities, and his ship crash lands on a planet, a hostile planet that looks kind of like the Wild Wild West. He quickly finds himself the target of a couple of rival gangs in the area, and he also learns how to make a profit out of it, because that's what he does best, because he's sort of like a space pirate kind of thing. So anyway, this is a pretty good first issue. I wasn't a huge fan of the art, but the story was pretty well done. If you're a fan of Firefly, you're probably going to like this one. It's kind of in the vein of that. And not a bad first issue by Samuel here, so if you're a fan, pick it up. Next up, we've got Fever Dream #1, written by George R.R. Martin, adapted by Daniel Abraham, with art by Rafael Lopez. So in this one, it's 1857, and Captain Marsh has been hired by the mysterious Mr. York to build a ship, the most glorious and fastest sort of riverboat ship in all of New Orleans, the Fever Dream. But Mr. York and his companions, who are very mysterious, are not entirely human, and I don't think that they have entirely good intentions for this ship, but the story is just beginning here, so we'll have to wait and see. If you like sort of stories with like a historical bent, but then a supernatural overlay, this is definitely the book for you. It was very interesting, and it's got good art. Again, if you like that supernatural twist, pick this one up. Next up, we've got the highly anticipated Brightest Day #0, written by Jeff Johns and Peter Tomasi, with art by Fernando Pasarin. In this one, Boston Brand, aka Deadman, discovers that he's got a new power, which takes him on an interesting journey throughout the rest of the book, where we visit other heroes and villains and see what's going on with them. So Mira and Arthur, aka Aquaman, get reacquainted, but Arthur has a troubling feeling in the back of his mind that something has gone wrong or could go wrong after Brightest Day. Hawkman and Hawkgirl engage in a refresher course, but are interrupted when the crystal shard from Star Sapphire is activated. The Flash confronts Captain Boomerang. Maxwell Lord is still the man with a plan, and I'm sure that won't turn out well. Jade is run through a bunch of tests by the Green Lanterns and tries to figure out her new place in the order of things. Firestorm is reborn, or at least until Ronnie and Jason kill each other. Osiris vows to restore his homeland. Hawk and Dove thwart an arms deal, and Star City is born, and Boston Brand gets one step closer to figuring out why he and the others have returned. So this was another awesome book by Johns and Tomasi. There's so much going on in this story, but they really managed to make you care about each character and catch you up really quickly on them, even though it's only 1 or 2 pages for some of them. So it's just a really great story. I can't wait to see what happens in Brightest Day #1. Pasarin's art is also wonderful. It's epic in scope, which matches the epic story that's going on. So if you didn't read Blackest Night, I really don't know why. It might be a bit difficult to drive on to Brightest Day #0, but certainly it's still an interesting book for you to read, and you can catch up on the backstory and go forward from here, because I have a feeling that this is an event that you don't want to miss. And last but not least, we have a viewer send-in. This is Promises, Promises by J.R. Faulkner. It's done in sort of a comic strip style instead of like a comic book style. Here we follow the exploits of Fiona, who works in a gym, and we experience her exasperation with a new client. I gotta say, this was pretty well done. It's kind of funny. It's that slice of life kind of book where you see a couple of days in the life of one person, and you're like, wow, their life is tougher than mine. So I definitely would not want to have Fiona's job, but there was points that I laughed out loud because working in retail, I'm like, oh, I know that person. So if you work in retail, or if you just like to read funny bits about annoying people, this is definitely the book for you.
Hey folks, Jim here with this week's comic reviews. Now, I'm not one to review my own books, but, well, I didn't do a heck of a lot on this book, so I said, why not? Basically all I did was restore some of the older art. So this is Ben Dunn's shorts. It's a collection of Ben Dunn's short stories from Mangazine, Extremely Silly Comics, Ninja High School, Warrior Nun, you name it, it's in here. It's basically just a collection of his short stories from 1985 till 2008. It's almost everything. There's a few things that we couldn't put in here, but, well, legal issues and such, and I'm not going to go into that. But this is a fun book. This is a really fun book. If you've never tried a Ben Dunn comic, like Ninja High School or Warrior Nun and etc., try this one out, because you're going to love it. I guarantee it, because, well, my name's on the book, so I have to guarantee that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's a fun book. Of course, anyone else out there that wants to try and review it, please do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Next up, Hellcyon, #1, written and drawn by Lucas Morangon. And in this one, Hellcyon is a backwater world exploited for its resources. The settlers live like slaves, but a new generation decides to take up arms and fight for their independence. This is very, very Katsuhiro Otomo-like. It's also very, very Mobius-like. The art style is almost a blend of traditional Japanese and European styles, which actually works in its advantage. I actually quite like the art in this. The story's a little weak at points, but it's not bad. It does remind me a hell of a lot of Akira, though, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I can clearly see his obvious influences in this book. It's a fun little book, but it's not bad overall. It's actually pretty darn good. So I'm actually looking forward to the next issue, and we'll see what happens in that. And last but not least is Peebri's Big Adventure, written and drawn by Fred Perry. And in this one, Peebles are artificial intelligent bit bombs, and Peebri is out to have an adventure unlike any other when she buys a bike from Tiffany and tries to learn how to ride it. That's right, artificial intelligent bit bombs trying to ride a bike. It's funny. It's really funny. This is done in traditional comic strip format. It's from Fred's online series, so it's actually really funny. It's really cute, and I laughed out loud, I have to say. It was a lot of fun. If you're a fan of Gold Digger, you're going to pick this one up anyway, so feel free to. It's a blast.